What's up guys, welcome back to the Young Watchery. Today I'm going to be reviewing this pretty cool chronograph that I picked up a few months ago. To tell you guys the truth, I wasn't really planning on releasing another video. I was kind of done with the whole watch YouTube thing. It's just
a little bit frustrating, a little bit annoying,
but I've been really enjoying this watch, and I just thought, I wanted to share my ideas with you guys. It is a micro brand, and there's not too many reviews of it out there, so hopefully, someone can learn something from this review. Before we get started, I'll do a quick wristwatch. Alright, let's start this review. So, like I mentioned, this is the ROUE CHR, which obviously just is an abbreviation of chronograph, and this is version 1. There are 3 different versions of this watch, just different dial colors, different finishes. I think one has a bead blasted, the other 2, including this one, have PVD cases and so forth. So first of all, why did I choose this watch? I'm not really a big micro brand fan. I think, for me personally, history and legacy and pedigree and all these things are really important to me. I enjoy things that come from a brand that have a long, prosperous history of innovation and excellence. And, micro brands don't really have that. And the other reason that I don't typically appreciate micro brands is that a lot of them don't really have a distinct character. A lot of them just sort of are maybe offering less expensive versions of other watches or stuff like that, but typically don't have their own sort of character. But this watch and most of the other ROUE watches, actually really all of them, have their own distinct, and interesting design, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But before we get right onto that, I just want to say their website is also really great. I highly recommend, if you're interested in this watch or any of their other watches, you check out their website. They've also got a really, really cool Instagram feed, which, is pretty interesting because we live in this age where a lot of, the most expensive watch companies are still just advertising in newspapers and stuff like that. I read the Wall Street Journal a lot, and, I constantly see ads for Patek Philippe, Blancpain, Breguet, Jaeger LeCoultre, Chopard, you name it. But a lot of these brands aren't really trying to market towards the new generations. And I understand that, I'm not really criticizing that, but it is kind of cool to see a young company like ROUE really have this cool online presence, especially on Instagram. They're constantly posting cool pictures of design things that inspired them. So definitely check that out. So let's talk about the design a little bit. What really drew me into this watch is that they've basically taken classic golden age of motorsport racing chronographs, kind of inspired by your classic Heuer chronographs, Zenith chronographs, all these classic racing chronographs, Rolex Daytonas, the Omega Speedmasters back before they were a moon watch, those watches, and then they've mixed that aesthetic with almost like a sort of Scandinavian minimalistic design, and the result is, in my opinion, really cool. It reminds me a lot of the watches that Orfina made for Porsche design back in the day, which were actually the first PVD watches commercially available. Specifically the chronograph one that I believe Tom Cruise actually wore in Top Gun. So yeah, I'll put up a photo of that so you can also see sort of what I'm talking about, because it's got that similar sort of case shape. The other thing I love about the design of this watch is those yellow accents. They make the watch a lot more just sort of popping, I guess. They make the watch pop. They have a nice burst of color. I also like these sort of offset subdials, if you will. We've got, so basically, you don't have a running seconds, which doesn't bother me at all. Some people, that might bother them. Personally, I don't think it's a big deal, because if you need to measure something accurately, of course you can just use the chronograph. So the central seconds is the seconds hand for the chronograph, obviously. Then at the top, at the 12 o'clock, we've got keeps track of the 20th of a second, so it can measure to 20th of a second accuracy. And then on the left by the 9 o'clock, we've got a 60-minute counter. So you're able to time up to 60 minutes to the accuracy of 1/100th of a second. Wait, no, hold on, 1/20th of a second, excuse me. I think the whole design of the dial is really cool. Some people might not like the sort of, offset subdial and the sort of spacey looking rest of the dial. Personally, again, I do like it. I like interesting, unique watches. I also like the tachometer on the dial. Not on the chapter ring, it's actually just on like the edge of the dial. I have used the tachometer before. I know a lot of people probably don't even know how to use one or what it's for, but I do think it's cool, and it is obviously sort of a hallmark of classic racing chronographs. Now let's talk a little bit about the use of this watch. So, or how it wears, all that kind of stuff. The case itself measures 41.5 millimeters. I think it's fairly comfortable. It is a little bit on the bigger side, but because it has a fairly narrow lug-to-lug length, it does wear fairly comfortably. The case is also not too thick. I believe it's 12 millimeters thick. So, overall, the watch still wears fairly comfortably. The strap that I have on here right now is a Zulu strap from Blue Shark NATO in sort of a khaki tan. Very comfortable strap, but let me show you quickly the straps that the watch came with. So it actually came with two straps, which is pretty cool. One sec here. The first one, the keeper is stuck. There we go. So the first strap is this sort of traditional Rallye style strap with these big holes in the center of the strap. Quite cool. Obviously, again, classic racing, sort of a throwback to the 70s and that era of motorsport. I love the strap. The buckle here is a matching matte finish, as are the pushers and the case back. So I do like the strap a lot. It feels quite nicely made. It's also got the sort of, I'm not sure what this is called, but where you can basically change straps without a tool. It's got that little bolt there. So that's actually quite nice because the watch came with two straps, so you can easily switch those out. The other strap, and this is genuine leather, I should point that out, and it is quite supple and nice. The other strap the watch came with is this rubber, I'm not sure if this is natural rubber. It does feel like natural rubber, not resin. It feels really soft and high quality, I have to say. And this strap is nice because you can throw this on if you're gonna go, do something more sporty with it and don't want to sweat into the leather. Again, the strap is quite high quality. I'm really impressed by the quality of the straps. It doesn't really fit the whole racing watch theme, but it is nice just to have that added versatility. Again, matte finish hardware. You got a rubber keeper here. The backside is pretty cool. They've got ROUE etched into the rubber there. And again, this does also have those quick release spring bars, which are pretty cool. So overall, I think this is a really great watch. The price point on these guys is about, I think, $270, $260. They sell them on Amazon, but you can also buy them off their website. And I think for a while they had a deal, if you buy it off their website, you can get an extra strap, so that's pretty cool. Overall, I think the quality of this watch is really great. The crystal is sapphire, which again, at a sub $300 watch, you don't really expect. The actuation of the pushers is crisp, it's clean. This watch really has not let me down whatsoever. The dial also on this particular version, which again is the version 1, has a really cool way of playing with the light. In some lights it looks almost like a little bit brown, like sort of a tropic dial. It's really hard to explain. And then in other lights it'll just be completely black, and then in other lights it'll have sort of this metallic gray, almost like my MacBook here. So I kind of like that. Again, it's interesting, it's unique. But if you're not into that, maybe you should get the one that has the white dial, or the other one, I'm not sure. I think it also has a black dial. Also, quickly, let me show you the case back, which is pretty cool. It's got sort of these racing checkers, I'm not even sure what you call that, but again, classic racing imagery. And it's not like super deep, but it is really nice, and that is a nice addition to see on a watch at this price point. So overall, this watch maybe has sort of changed my mind on microbrands, because ROUE has really created their own unique aesthetic. Are they borrowing from classic racing chronographs? Yes, absolutely. But they've also combined their own style and created something that is wholly unique, original, and personally extremely charming in my opinion. Before I end the video, I also want to share with you guys my #1 tip for watch enthusiasts, watch collectors, anyone looking to buy a watch. And that is, very simply, buy what you like. There are so many people out there who will tell you, do this, do that, don't buy this watch, don't buy that watch, you have to tick these boxes. If you already have 2 divers, maybe you should get a pilot's chronograph or whatever, But ultimately, with the exception of replicas and watches that steal from other watches aesthetically, buy what you like. This is really the most important thing. And this is also kind of why I've started to migrate away from the watch YouTube thing, because I'm just so tired of all these people telling you these different rules and all of this. Look guys, watches are not a life or death thing. Watches should be there to bring you some joy, right? They should be something you love to wear. And as such, it is critical that you buy what you like, and really, to be honest, only listen to yourself. Alright guys, well that concludes today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope maybe you've learned something. If you have, I would greatly appreciate a like and subscription. Questions, comments, whatever you want to say, leave it down in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you guys as quickly as possible. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.